What is going on, YouTube? We have another really big NBA slate tonight. There are 11 games on the agenda. Hopefully, I can find some winners for you all. I'll be going through all of my picks and plays here in this video. Hopefully, you guys had a pretty good weekend. I'm coming off a massive weekend myself. Friday, we had a pretty solid NBA night, cashed like a 7.5x or so. Saturday, we had a massive day. I swept the board in college football, swept the NBA board. It was just a really good day altogether. And then yesterday, we hit a couple really good picks on the NFL slate, but we also were able to jump on the Austin Reeves line before the Luka news came out. So that was really sweet to get that before his line jumped about 10 points or so. So in this video today, I'll be going through my picks for this Monday night slate. I've got a handful of them, 4 regular plays, 4 parlay fillers. I haven't really looked at the 1/2 lines or the 1/2 PRAs just yet, just because those lines usually come out later in the day on Underdog Fantasy. So I don't want to make a bet on PrizePicks for like an under on a first half points when Underdog Fantasy is going to come in later with the same line, but 1 point higher. For example, like the Trae Young one that I always take, it's usually like 11.5 on PrizePicks, but then Underdog Fantasy will release the line at like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it'll be 12.5. So it's better to wait on those situations. Same thing with the first half PRAs too. They're generally 1 point apart. A couple housekeeping items before I get into the plays today. So number one, I do a bunch of free content for you guys here on YouTube, but if you want to join the free Discord server, that link is located in the description below. And secondly, if you want to see every single slip that I make, every bet that I place, if you want to tail my exact plays, you will need to sign up for the VIP package. If you want a 7-day free trial for that, there also is a link in the description below that will send you just right there. All right, so I'll be using Outlier to show my plays. This is the website that I use every day for all of my research. Not a free website, it is a paid website. They offer 7-day free trials too. There's a link in my description below that goes directly to Outlier so you can get all of this data yourself. It's pretty sweet, I'll be honest with you. It saved me so much time throughout the years with all these player cards, finding the trends and things like that. And obviously it works out really well for us with the results. So first play tonight, I'm actually going to go back to this Austin Reeves line, even though it's 10 points higher than what I got it at yesterday. This one is a little bit sketchy today. It's a little scary. They are on the second leg of a back-to-back. But if I filter for games without LeBron and without Luka last season, he went over this number 3 out of 4 times. He averaged 48.8 PRA. And then obviously yesterday he had that massive 51-point performance. It was just absolutely insane. He cashed my over 32.5 like 1 minute into the second half. So it was an insane game. I doubt we get that kind of performance again. Second night of a back-to-back. At least they're home tonight, and the travel from Sacramento to LA isn't too bad. It's just a couple of hours on the plane. But, there is a little bit of fears of that, but I'm going to go with it anyways. I'm going to ride this. I don't think this number's high enough. I was actually expecting them to release this at like 45.5 or so. And they gave us 42.5. And I simply just think this number is a little bit too low. So first play, we're going back to that Austin Reeves PRA. And if it burns me, well, then it burns me. That's just the way it goes. Next play, we're going over to Philadelphia and Kelly Oubre Jr. over 19.5 PRA. This is actually a double dipper because I'll have a parlay filler with Oubre too. So I'll touch on both of them here while I'm just going over the regular line. But basically, there's no Embiid tonight for the Sixers, no Paul George as well. If I filter for games with both of them out, but then also with Maxey in, because I don't want to just look at games where it's just Oubre, I want to look at the games with Maxey too, because Maxey is a guy who's going to have a lot of usage here. And Oubre, he might be the second or third option on this offense when it's all said and done tonight, especially with the injury rates and everything. But basically, we're looking at a 16-game sample size from last year in this situation. Oubre averaged 25.6 PRA per game. He played, 36 minutes per game on average. It kind of ranged from 25 minutes all the way up to 45 minutes in an overtime game. But even if he had like 26 minutes here, he still did cash it. So he doesn't really need a ton of minutes to get there. The usage is going to be there. But he averaged 25.6 per game, 14 out of 16 games for an 80% win rate. The matchup is a little bit difficult. The Magic are a good defense. They were a team I generally tried to avoid for the most part last year. But I think the volume and the opportunity for Oubre here is just too high to ignore. And then the second part of this play is just the alternate line, the 14.5 on PrizePicks or on DraftKings at minus 455. It's a parlay filler, Green Goblin play. I'll touch on those when I get to the other ones later on and how to play them. But basically, he went over this number every single time last year in this scenario, 16 out of 16. Obviously, the average stays the same. It should be just an easy casher here, as long as he doesn't get in like foul trouble or get hurt or anything. Next play, we're going with a play that burned me the other night, and it is Peyton Pritchard over 25.5 PRA. I simply just can't ignore this volume for him. Basically, he's playing 34 or more minutes per game with like 34 minutes on Saturday, I think that was, or on Sunday, yesterday. So they're on a back-to-back. So he played 34 minutes yesterday, 36 minutes on Friday, and 37 minutes on the opening night. If I move this bar to 34 plus minutes and look at last season, and if I look at games without Jason Tatum, we only have a 5-game sample size here, but he averaged 37.6 PRA per game in these games. I know we had a couple blow-up spots to go over that, but the main reason for this is he's just shooting really bad. He shot 2 of 10 from the floor against the Knicks the other night, 6 of 14, which is okay, but he was 1 of 7 from 3. He finally made a second three-pointer the other night or last night against Detroit, but as long as he doesn't shoot, absolutely horrific, this line should be pretty easy for him to go over, simply because he's on the floor so much. He's playing 34 more minutes every game. There's no Tatum. They're on the second leg of a back-to-back, so maybe Brown gets limited or even sits or something. You never really know in the NBA nowadays, but he's going to chuck some threes. Hopefully he makes a few of them, and I am pretty confident that he goes over this 25.5 number. If you want to take the alternate line of 19.5, that's fine. It's probably pretty safe. He had 19 against the Knicks the other night, but he shot 2 of 10 from the floor and 1 of 7 from 3. Like I said, I'm expecting him to make at least 1 or 2 more 3-pointers tonight to tick him over that line. Third play here is a play that is contingent on some injury news. It's SGA under 44.5 PRA. You're going to see this a lot from me this year. It's a play that I'm on pretty often. Basically, if I filter for games with Chet Holmgren, he is currently questionable tonight, so you need to pay attention. If Holmgren is out for any reason, do not make this play. You should definitely not make this play. The line will probably go up a little bit, but do not play this play if Holmgren is out. Now, if Holmgren is in, that's where the trend fits. So we're looking at games last year with Chet Holmgren in and on the road. SGA averaged only 39.6 PRA, going under this number 19 out of 24 times. It's a play that a lot of people hate that I post, but it made us so much money last year, and I love going against the grain on these things. So I'm going with the SGA under. I know Caruso's out and J-Dub's out and all these other guys are out for the Thunder. You have Kenrich Williams out, Isaiah Joe is out, but I'm willing to ride it. I'm not afraid to lose on an under any night, simply because, the other night he had 68 and I was on that under and I lost. But the next night I went with his under again and we cashed. So, and everyone was on this over because the Hawks, they're a high-paced team. They're a really soft defense. So I'm just going to go against the grain here of the public, going with the SJ unders. Like I said, it's one of my favorite plays that you're probably going to see a lot from me this year, as long as Chet Holmgren stays healthy and SJ's number stays above that certain mark. I already touched on the Austin Reeves play, so that is the 4 regular bets that I'm on tonight. Let's move over to the parlay fillers. I talked about one of them already with the Kelly Oubre alternate line. The next one I want to talk about is Cade Cunningham over 24.5 points and rebounds. Now, I was on his, I think it was 34.5 PRA the other night, and it won for us pretty easily. So now I'm transitioning over to the points and rebounds. So if we look at last season, he went over this number 89% of the time, averaging 32.3 points and rebounds per game, 68 out of 76 games. Filtering from home games, that number ticks down just a little bit, but that's just because the sample gets smaller. He went over in 33 out of 38 home games last year. In the head-to-heads last year, he went over all 3 times against Cleveland, averaging 35.7 points and rebounds per game. And then this season, he's already averaging 28.7 PNR per game, going over every single time. So solid play for Cade Cunningham on the alternate line. If you haven't seen my videos before, and if you don't know how to play these parlay fillers, how I do them is I have 4 of them here, or maybe even 5 if you want to go with the Pritchard one. But basically, I just do a parlay of all four, all five of them on PrizePicks typically, and then I'll mix and match. So like I'll do like the Cade Cunningham line here, and I'll combine it with like the SGA under or something and just go for a 2x. And I'll do a couple different combinations of those with my favorites. If there's a promo, like if you get one of those over 0.5 fantasy points, or just like an automatic free win, or the Taco Tuesdays, these are really good to pair them with because I win them a little bit over 90% of the time, and it's essentially just free cash. If you get one of these plays with the free win and you put $25 on it, that's literally a free $25 for you, or whatever your max is on PrizePicks. I know people get limited on the promos pretty quickly over there. Moving over to the next play, I've got two more because I touched on Oubre already. We're going to go with Zion over 5.5 rebounds. Now, Zion's looked really good to start this year. He slimmed down a little bit in the offseason. Just a tad. Just a tad. He still loves his cheeseburgers, but he's averaging 9.5 rebounds per game this season. He's being really active on the boards. He's actually just been really active altogether. So I considered his PRA, but his rebounds number really stood out to me. Last season, he hit this number 80% of the time, but if I filtered for just the home games, it was a 100% hit rate, going over in 12 out of 12 home games, averaging 8.2 rebounds per game. Boosted a little bit by a 14 rebound game, but you see he got the 6 every single time. Hopefully he could do it again against a Celtics team that's going to be shooting a ton of three-pointers. And when you shoot a lot of three-pointers, that leads to a lot of rebound opportunities. So Zion over 5.5 rebounds as a parlay filler. And then lastly, my last parlay filler is the same game. We're going with Derek White over 2.5 three-pointers made. So last season, we have to filter for games with Tatum out. He went over this number in 10 out of 11 games last year without Tatum, averaging 4.5 three-pointers per game. It is a little concerning that he only had 3 three-pointers in 5 of these games, and he went under one time. However, the volume this season has been absolutely off the charts. 13 three-pointer attempts, 11 attempts, and 11 attempts. Averaging only 3.3 made per game for under 30%. He's a 44% three-point shooter, around a 40% three-point shooter last year. So I think he's going to start making a few more three-pointers tonight. And when you're getting this opportunity, 3 out of 12 cashes it for us. That's still a 25% make rate. So the volume's going to be there for White. They're going to be checking up the shots. There's no Tatum. There is a slight chance that Brown is going to be out on the second leg of a back-to-back. So I love this White play. I think this is probably my favorite parlay filler tonight, between this one and the Oubre one. So those are my top 2 favorites. Those are the 2 I'll probably combine with a bunch of other slips in there. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't have any first half or PRA games, first half points or first half PRA plays just yet. I will have those later on today for the VIP members, maybe post 1 or 2 in the Discord for the free members. But if you stuck around this long, appreciate you guys watching the video. If you could drop a subscribe to the channel, it helps a lot. I've been coming out with these basically every single day for you guys, a lot of free content, and we're making a lot of money this season. So best of luck on your plays tonight, and I look forward to you posting your wins in the Discord later on, and maybe I'll even take some of your plays if you post them in there, and I'll tell them myself and give away the winnings. I don't know. We'll see. But best luck tonight, guys. So thanks for watching.